Boss cheated me out over rule breaking. First, the boss scolded me for breaking the rules, and then he begged me to do it again. At the beginning of last year, I got a job at a small transport and warehousing company. I live in the UK. Since I was changing careers, I had to train from scratch, but the managing director's son took a liking to me from the moment we met at the interview and was determined to get me on the team. I was given a day shift in the afternoon, which allowed me to learn the job both by the rules of the day shift and off the record like the night shift. It is important to note that both by company policy and client contracts, if we required third-party trailers for loading, an external carrier not part of the company, we were obligated to contact them via email and wait for a response. And the night shift being the night shift, a response usually only arrived around 6 in the morning when the day shift came in. This meant that if we wanted to load anything onto third-party trailers at night, we had to figure it out ourselves. The only problem was that our warehouse serves several clients. Let's call them Client A and Client B. I became acquainted with Fusion and almost always helped them regarding our Client B, but they often worked for our Client A as well. The catch was that these two clients dealt with two different branches of Fusion Transport, and I was forbidden from using my contact if I needed something for Client A. And this is where the fun begins. Just a few days before Christmas, on a Sunday, Client A informed us that they had just agreed on a shipment to one of their largest customers. The load had to be delivered at 3 in the morning on Monday, and we were notified of this at 10 p.m. on Sunday night. At the same time, on Sundays, all warehouse staff finish work at 6 p.m. and don't return until 6 a.m. on Monday, so I was there alone, just sitting in the office. The dialogue went something like this. Client A, we just sent you information for an urgent order. It needs to be delivered in 5 hours. Me, I'm the only one here right now, but if it's really that urgent for you, I can come out myself, pick the order, and load the trailer. You just need to send a driver with a trailer so I can unload it. That's the problem. The load is being picked up by Fusion Transport, and they only agreed on the condition that they could come to you and pick up an already loaded trailer, otherwise they won't make the delivery on time. Well, alright, but first of all, we don't have any of their trailers here at all, and even if we did, I can't back a trailer to the ramp alone. Don't you have some trailer there that one of your drivers could bring over so it's ready? No, we have nothing. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Our planning department is a total thou. Sounds about right. Is this absolutely urgent? If we don't deliver on time, there will be a fairly large fine. Okay, I'll handle it. At that moment, I thought, to hell with it. Since it's so urgent for them, I'll step slightly outside the rules and ask for help from my contact at Fusion. I called him and explained the situation. He was silent for a couple of minutes and then said, "You know what, mate, you've done me quite a few favors lately, so it's time I return the debt. I'll send one of my drivers with the trailer you need and a couple of guys to help with the loading. How's that sound?" Me, are you serious? Yes, mate, I think we're even now. And he did exactly what he promised. About half an hour later, I already had a driver with a trailer and 3 more guys who helped me load it. Everything was ready just in time for the other branch of Fusion Transport to pick up the load. I called Client A and informed them that the order was loaded and already on its way to the customer. He showered me with praise, saying I work miracles. And we left it at that. The next day in the afternoon, I came to work and immediately found myself in front of the general manager and the managing director, who were asking in unison how the hell I managed it, because they had already spoken with Client A and knew we didn't have a single trailer for loading and the client couldn't provide anything either. I explained to them what happened and how I pulled it off. What really surprised me was that instead of even a nod of approval, I was scolded for violating company policy. Resentful, I returned to my duties, but mentally made a note for the future. Oh, what a smirk I had when, in early January, I received almost the same call late on a Sunday evening. But this time I decided to do everything strictly by the rules. I quickly wrote an email confirming that we had received the order and that we urgently required a Fusion Transport trailer for loading. I specifically CC'd as much of management as possible, including the general manager and the managing director. About an hour later, the general manager called me and asked how the order was progressing. I explained to him quite calmly that, due to entirely predictable circumstances, I couldn't load anything because I had not yet received a trailer. He was furious and just hung up. About 10 minutes later, He and the managing director walked into the office and started questioning me about why the hell I couldn't pull off such a simple thing. Then I put on my special face, saved for such occasions, and said, "As I was instructed last time, in situations like this, I am obligated to strictly follow company policy. I have requested a trailer and am waiting for a response from client A." General Manager, "But you know they can't provide it." "I am well aware of that, sir. However, company policy states that we can only request trailers from them unless, of course." At that moment, I folded my hands and started twiddling my thumbs like a hunter waiting for the trap to spring. The general manager was absolutely seething at that point. The managing director looked first at him, then at me, and said, "Can you get a trailer through one of your contacts?" "Possibly, but the general manager will be unhappy that I am violating policy again." "To hell with him. You have my permission. If he has any complaints, I'll deal with it personally." I immediately called my contact. He agreed to provide a trailer without a problem, as he had a driver in my area who had just finished a run. I told management that the trailer would be there soon, but due to the lost time, I wouldn't be able to finish loading it by the time of the pickup. The general manager stared at me in confusion, but the managing director started to realize where I was going with this. I wanted them to load the trailer with me. The best part was that we use electric pallet stackers, which require a qualification to operate, even though they are easy to use. This meant that my so-called assistants had to use old-fashioned manual pallet jacks to move the pallets, which is not very fun when a pallet weighs nearly a ton. I will never forget the grimaces of strain on their faces as they pushed those jacks across the warehouse while I simply zipped around them on my electric stacker. Since then, I have never once been questioned about how I do my job or what workarounds I use to perform it effectively.